Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy Waddy Paul, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen, if you are a fan of Port, stay tuned because you might like what we're cooking. On today's episode, we are talking about a lot of things, but I want us to talk a bit about the Hey Neighbor Festival. We haven't spoken about it. We did introduce the subject of Hey Neighbor Festival. I saw a lot of people. I personally didn't go to the Hey Neighbor Festival, and I saw people saying which the tickets were 1.2, 4,000, and there were people who actually slept on the festival. I have a friend of mine by the name of Vila who also was selling 2 tickets for 2.9, if I'm not mistaken. On Friday before the Kendrick Lamar for the main event, he was selling those tickets, but I didn't go, and I felt I had a lot of FOMO because a lot of people who went to the Hey Neighbor Festival, they let us know which we missed out a lot, and I did feel like I did miss out a lot because obviously, for those of you who know that Kendrick Lamar, I'm the biggest Kendrick Lamar fan, so knowing that I didn't go, there for me was like ish. But, the bank wasn't there as well, so, but I did feel like, next time when he comes, I need to make a plan to be there, man. And I didn't even save for me to be there, but a lot of people who were there, they really enjoyed. And I was like, thinking to myself to say, how many people actually, like, there was a lot of people for sure. Like, from the videos I saw, there was a lot of people. I was like, so all these people really paid 4,000 rands? And I'm like, well, technically, meaning here in Mzansi, we have people who can afford, because all these people who are there, clearly they can afford 4,000 rands. And shout out to people who were also sponsored by the Nedbank by giving them tickets. Shout out to Nedbank. And I saw like that was a lot, and I was like, given the state of our economy, but the festivals are still full regardless of a ticket being 4,000 rands. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I also saw the likes of Khalid. He also made a video for Busy Creative Corners. I'm sorry, it's Creative Corners. He was thinking Creative Corners after his performance. I saw him posting where he was at the Cradle of Humankind. He posted when he got to South Africa as well. I don't know if Kendrick Lamar is still in the country, but he doesn't post a lot. So people who you can like chat with, it's people like Khalid, because they do post. Kendrick Lamar doesn't really post a lot on social media, so it's hard to tell the places he's visited, or if he's still around, or if he flew up immediately after he performed on Saturday. So the fact that he was performing and we didn't know when he got to the country, when he left, we don't know what's going on. That guy is super private, right? So before we get into today's episode, I wanted to mention the song of the day. I forgot to say the song of the day. Filler words, using a lot of filler words today. Yeah, so the song of the day is Freedom of Fame. Sorry for that. It's Freedom of Fame Reloaded by Blacklist featuring Pro Kid and Reason. So some of you might know Reason as Sizwe Alkaline, who's also writing for Matumadi, DJ Maporiza. He writes for them. He changed his name after this entire thing, Yamapiano came through. He changed his name from Reason to Sizwe Alkaline. So the song is by Blacklist featuring Pro Kid, rest in peace Pro Kid, and Reason, who goes by the name of Sizwe Alkaline now. So currently on Spotify, sitting at 285,117 on Spotify alone. The song was released 2018 as a single for Freedom. Yeah, as a single this is Blacklist single in 2018. The song is 5 minutes 21 seconds long. Yeah, so going back to the Hey Neighbor, still speaking on Hey Neighbor, I saw a lot of people. I didn't even know which there were tents where people were sleeping in. There was like a campsite inside the. And when I thought of campsite, the first thing that I thought about was, what's going on? Like, I thought of that story. I don't remember if you guys remember the story of that guy who was also arrested in the United States, who was creating a similar thing for who wanted to do a similar thing that Hey Neighbor did with the campsites and everything, and they had a whole documentary about it where they created an ad. They created a social media ad where people like Kylie Jenner Yeah, I think it's Kylie, or like, who's that model chick? Wow, the Kardashians, the smaller one. I think it's Kendall. Yeah, Kendall Jenner was also a part of those ads, and Bella Hadid, and they were all part of those ads when they were creating. And people like Jaru were also a part of that entire thing, yeah, the event. But only that guy got arrested at the end of the day, because the concept was powerful, but the funds were not there. And, the concept ended up being something else, a disaster, and people started suing him, and eventually got arrested. And, a lot of drama went on, but he got arrested for that, went to jail, and people who were funding him, who were scamming the people who were funding him, demanding more money. And there was a huge documentary. I don't remember the name of the documentary. When I saw that, I thought of that story, and I'm like, oh, we actually pulled it out very well, we pulled out very well. Well, Hey Neighbor pulled it very well, because they were his campsite. I saw the Chinese guy, the Asian, I'm so sorry for saying Chinese, the Asian dude who's a TikTok creator was also sharing the 10 shandies of Hey Neighbor as well. I know Scrumptious was also there, posted something, I think I saw on social media. I'm not sure if it's Scrumptious, but I think she was also there. I saw Yanda Woods, who also had the ticket as well, took a picture of the ticket. So a lot of people or influencers were there, and they pulled it out very nice. So I'll just mention the lineup I'll just do the main stage, because we don't have a lot of time. And for those of you who didn't go, there were 3 stages. There was the main stage, the Machi stage, and the Griffin stage. First stage, it's the main stage, obviously. The second stage was Machi stage. The third stage was the Griffin stage. So the first stage, which is the main stage, they didn't have a lot of acts or performances. So it didn't have a lot for the first day, which was the 8th of December 2023, which was on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. It was only how many acts? 7 acts, if I'm not mistaken. 2, 4, 6, 7 acts, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's 7 acts. So the first act of the day was Good Luck, which performed at 3:30, 4:30. The Soul performed. Was also performed at 10 to 5. Tyler performed at 5 to 6. Leslie C performed 7:40. At 7:40, Khalid performed at 8:45. Then the Chainsmokers performed at 11:39. The Chainsmokers. So that's the main stage. So on the second day, the main stage, I'm just calling out the main stage. The second day lineup, which was the 9th of December 2023. The main stage, also 7 acts even. So the first name that came up, it's Baby S-O-N, Baby S-O-N, Baby Son, for those of you, Baby S-O-N, who performed at 2:50. Then she kind of came in at 5:04. Then Zix Bandwini at 5:10, which is 5:10. Shimza came in at 6:15. I'm so sorry. Scorpion Kings came on at 7:20. Nothing but the Thieves came in at 8:50. Then Kendrick Lamar came. He was supposed to perform at 10:45, but he came on stage at 11 o'clock. And there was a whole drama around, not even drama, there was a rain during the performances, so they had to move, and there was just a lot. I saw someone who was doing content around that, and she was saying there was, a lot that was going on as far as like the stage. So Kendrick really came on 15 minutes late and performed, and people were going crazy. And I felt FOMO when I saw people talking about like Kendrick Lamar, and they were like, yo, we just here for the main act, it's just Kendrick Lamar. And yo, when he was performing a lot of those songs, I was like, yo, I wish I was there. But it is what it is, man. The campsite, and people were saying, Wuti, they spent how long? They said they spent more than 3 hours after the Kendrick show, after Kendrick, who was like the closing act of the night. They spent 3 hours trying to get out of the venue. And some people were like, this is like when you're watching a Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates derby, it's like the same. You spend a lot of time trying to come out, and someone is like, I could have slept in the car and like woke up the next morning and just vibe, you know. And I was like, oh, must have been busy. So Sunday we had Mikasa at Pora 2. Then Katri we had Franco's Yakok, if I'm not mistaken, and at 10 to 4 we had Meta. At 4:40 we had Dani Wolga. Then we had 5:25 we had James Vickery. I don't know who that is. At 6:15 we had Major Leagues. At 8:05 we had H.E.R. And at 9:45 we had the Swedish House Mafia. I think this day was like full of white people because this is more of a house type of thing. Sunday was more housing, you know, more laid back shanties. So I don't think if there's a lot of people, this is a playlist for people who are like, who have a great music taste for that, because there's more laid back R&B, Swedish House Mafia. This is like a playlist for white people, if I can say so, which was yesterday, the 10th of December 2023. The lineup of the main stage alone, you know. Kelvin MOMO even played on Marquee stage. He didn't play, he played yesterday, so I'm telling you, he played yesterday on Marquee stage. He was the second act of the day around 3:25, the third day, which is yesterday on Marquee stage. He played. Not a lot of people were saying a lot about Kelvin MOMO. So, and speaking of Kelvin MOMO, I'd like to speak about Kelvin MOMO. People were saying, why is Kelvin MOMO have, and what does, you know, the people who listen to the album name is Kurula, which means peace in English. So they were saying, why does it have a lot of space in between songs, you know, in between transition from first song to second song, from like, you know, like Kurula to Utando, which is track 1 and track 2, which features Usjava. So Utando. So there's a lot of space in between the songs, and people mentioned, why does it have a lot of space? And someone came through and said, he's trying to give you a moment of reflection, to think, you know, think about your life, to reflect, to self-reflect. And I was like, oh, this is so profound. Like, people really, really, you know, took in Momo's project, and, you know, they're dissecting. They're like, oh, Momo's music is very spiritual. Momo, and I like it, you know, because he knows how to balance. As I said in the previous episode, Momo's music is amazing, and him playing on the Sunday really made sense. And people like Elaine also played after Kelvin MOMO as well on Sunday, you know. So shout out to Kelvin MOMO. I'm sure the album is doing great, man. I'm sure the album is doing great. So that was the playlist for Hey Neighbor. Which theory did you enjoy? Please do let me know in the comments section. And who are you interested to see? Should they should they have Hey Neighbor next year? Do you want to see Drake? Who's the artist do you want to see on Hey Neighbor next year? You know, for the Saturday? Because a lot of people, I should say, they were very excited about Kendrick Lamar, and people were buying tickets to see Kendrick Lamar on Saturday. And a lot of the Kendrick Lamar market, people who were like big fans of Kendrick Lamar, I think majority of them I saw, they didn't have money to be in the concert because the ticket was very expensive, and given the state of our nation and, you know, the economics, people don't really have that money to be in that gig. But regardless, there were people who were there and they listened to music, and, you know, I'm not saying they're not fans, but like the fans were angry in some of the comments that were released by Hey Neighbor, the clips that were released by Hey Neighbor. Some people were like, the real Kendrick fans were not there, so some of y'all don't know the song, you know. Like, as a Kendrick fan, I was like, oh, I'm also not at the concert, you know. But it is what it is, man. And shout out to the people who represented us on the concert. And I just hope as much as we had fun, I just hope also Kendrick Lamar had fun as well, man. Shout out to someone who Mutupa. I have a guy by the name of Mutupa on my WhatsApp chat. He was saying, Kendrick Lamar is very private, and nobody knows who Kendrick Lamar's girl is or wife is. And I'm like, oh, for some of us who are like really, really, really Kendrick Lamar fan, we actually do know who is the Kendrick Lamar's girlfriend is. Because if you remember when he was taking the award, which Ice Cube actually presented to Kendrick Lamar. He gave a shout out to people like Dre, people like Ice Cube, Compton. He also mentioned Jay-Z Lamar when he was saying with J for president. When he's saying Jay-Z for president on that speech that he was giving that night, saying to Jay-Z for president, he actually mentioned the wife to say, so also you with me. I'm so sorry. He said, shout out to also Whitney, who is the amazing girl in her life. That's when I knew Whitney's the girlfriend, because they did show her on the camera, and I saw like all the pictures to say, well, this is so nice, and they've been together ever since. And I've seen like, you know, a couple of chicks that Kendrick Lamar dated, and they were saying how good he is. Like, I've seen a whole lot of the stuff. You know, I'm just a huge Kendrick Lamar fan for the music, not the life. I like how he like knows how to bring both the world's musicality and his life experience to the music without us going too deep into his life, you know what I mean? And I also like that about Jay-Z as well. So for those of you who just joined us, I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy What He Poured, aka H.E.R, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Let's go to the break and we have more news when we come back. Cheers. Welcome back to Backroomconvos. I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy What He Poured, aka H.E.R, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen, if you are a fan of Port Station, because you might like what we cooking, the song of the day is Freedom of Fame, reloaded by Black Les featuring Pro Kid, rest in peace to Pro, and Reason, who recently changed, not recently, but 2 years back, he changed his name from Reason to Sizwe Alkaline because Piano was taking the scene by storm, so he changed to Sizwe Alkaline. He's released a lot of like amazing songs at the piano, and allegedly he's also writing songs for Madumani, but he doesn't want to admit to it. He hasn't confirmed, but people who listen to him and the rhymes Zaga Madumani, they say he's the one writing the songs. I don't know where the rumor started, but I know he was denying and saying, no, you guys must ask Bori and what's so not. And he does have a lot of songs. It's a piano. Shout out to him, man. And for those of you who just joined us on the line, we don't have any guests. What do I say on the line? So we don't have any guests today, but before we went on the break, we were talking about the Hey Neighbor Festival and, you know, the acts that were part of the main stage acts that were part of the show. We did mention people like the Chainsmokers who closed the night for the first day on the 8th of December 2023, which featured people like Khalid was also performing on Friday. Nesto also performed on Friday. And the Chainsmokers, as I said, they did close the show on Friday. And Youngster CPT was at the marquee stage because there was 3 stages. Youngster now was a part of the second stage, the middle stage, which is the marquee stage. He was performing also. Youngster now was also there. Second stage, he was performing after. Did I say Youngster CPT? Youngster CPT, I did mention. Uncle Waffles closed the night on Friday. What was the time? 10-11 Friday nights. She's the one who closed up the thingy on Friday. So on Saturday, obviously, main stage Kendrick Lamar was closing it. Started off by 11 at night. People were complaining between Ogoti, like there was a rain around 7, and you know, it kind of like messed up the show a bit, but people get out again and the show continued on going on. She kind of also performed, Zexpantini also performed. Scorpion Kings, people were very much praising the Scorpion Kings, Kabza and Maporisa. I saw Kabza was on the decks. I understand the Pori was there entertaining the crowd, dancing. Shout out to them, man. Kendrick closed it. Blackie performed marquee stage, DJ PH. The Saturday stage, the marquee stage was more hip hop, if I'm not mistaken, because people like, okay, Mosa Keys is not hip hop, but like majority of the people were at the marquee stage were like hip hop artists. DJ PH is a hip hop DJ. Panati is a hip hop artist. Jack Pero is a hip hop artist. For those of you who didn't know, Foka is piano, but he's a rapper as well. Blackie is a rapper. So, so that's what I'm saying. With Shoma Josie falls under hip hop, a bit of, but I think he's a rapper as well, so he falls under that. So the Machi stage was more of like the hip hop vibe, if I'm not mistaken. So people who were at the Griffin stage, so people like Kent perform at the Griffin stage, people like Kent perform at the Griffin stage. Kent is a legend, by the way. Kent is a legend. Devin Gogo, phenomenal artist, which is the second day of like the Griffin, the second stage. And I was not supposed to even mention the Edzo that were in like the Marquee stage and the Griffin stage, but here I am talking about it. So the second stage for Sunday, which is the Marquee stage, also like the Swedish Mafias obviously closed the show at 10. They started performing at 10. So people like Aries performed Sunday yesterday. They performed. Aries, Elaine performed. Devin Gogo performed again. She's the one who closed the show on Sunday. Devin Gogo performed. Kelvin MOMO performed. This is the Maki stage. Like Devin Gogo performed. Aries performed. Sorry for the Philippines. Elaine performed. Kelvin MOMO performed. I did speak a bit about Kelvin MOMO and the album and what people were saying. And at the Griffin stage, I don't know some of the people here. I don't know anyone in this stage. I highly doubt even I would see there were people at this stage, but I wasn't there, so probably there are people who know these DJs. Oh, the chaotic DJ. I think the chaotic DJ is the one who's also resident DJ in YFM, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to them, man. Shout out to you. That's the end of the night, which was like the 10th of December 2023 at the Griffin stage. Swedish Mafia, obviously, they closed up on the main stage. So they did close up. For those of you who just joined us, I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy You Are The Pod, aka Future Short, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy. Like Cairo, that was just the highlight of what we were talking about, right? So moving right along, I saw an article came out, boom. Offset, allegedly, this is alleged, I don't know if it's true, Offset, because Offset denied these rumors. So Blueface came out of the woodwork and saying, Offset had slept with Cristean Rock, you know what I mean? Then Offset came also and he was like, these rumors, these accusations, are false. I don't know, because, I would like to talk about Offset. Offset is a player, and before the marriage and everything, and Cardi B, you remember there was a time where they separated and Cardi B wanted nothing to do with Offset because of the rumors of cheating or him cheating, and Cardi B wanted nothing to do with him, and he made this entire thing on stage when Cardi was performing and he proposed on stage. And I'm like, Offset is not new to this, because with Sweetie, who was Quavo's girlfriend, and apparently, I don't know if it's true or not, the reason that these guys are no longer together as the Migos is because Offset slept with Sweetie, and Sweetie was dating Quavo at the time. That's why they separated. And Offset, didn't come out, and Sweetie came out dissing Quavo. Quavo came out dissed Sweetie. So it was a whole thing. So Offset coming out denying all these rumors. I'm not sure if he's denying all these accusations about her sleeping with Cristean Rock because he was trying to save his marriage, because Offset for sure, we do know, but he's a player. He's done that to Quavo with Sweetie. I don't know if it's true or not, but rumors have went around, and these songs have came out between all parties involved, you know what I mean? And obviously they did come back in honor of who's that rapper, who's the Takeoff, who when Takeoff passed on, they did come back and collaborate, and they did a couple of songs in commemoration to pay tribute to Takeoff. I don't know if they're still together, but I highly doubt that they are still together. And shout out to them, and solo careers, and people came out again. We now know the Beyonce of the Migos is Offset, but in my personal opinion, I think Takeoff was the Beyonce of the group, but unfortunately, because of what happened, there's only 2 members left, and Takeoff, actually, rest in peace to him, and rest in peace to the Rocket, man. And now between the two, we would say Offset is the Beyonce of the group. Quavo, we haven't really had a lot from Quavo, and the last track I think between Takeoff and Quavo that they released was Hotel Lobby. which is big on WhatsApp as well. GT5 Challenger. There's that song. I don't know that. Oh, guys, English. I don't know the lyrics of the song, but that song came out between the two. That was the last song they collaborated on together. So like, if these, I just thought I should share that. Offset the accusation. Offset actually came and denied all these. I don't know how that came about. Speaking about cheating and infidelity, Jada Pinkett Smith also came out and was talking obviously about the saga. I don't know if it's because of relevance and all of that, or if it's people who read Jada Pinkett Smith's memoir and he was saying that on the memoir. I don't know. But according to TMZ or Shade Room, I'm not sure. I forgot to credit the people who came up with this article. They were saying, Jada Pinkett Smith was saying, the marriage that both made, the slap Will Smith slapped to, who's this guy again? Chris Rock. Remember Will Smith clapped at Chris Rock. I'm so sorry for that. My phone was ringing. Remember the slap? Chris Rock clapped not Chris Rock, man. Will Smith clapped Chris Rock. Where's my mind? Will Smith clapped Chris Rock, and that slap, Jada Pinkett Smith was saying, that's the slap that saved their marriage. And I'm like, wow, how does a slap save your marriage? I'm like, well, did it bring them together when they defended, or like, how did it save her marriage? I didn't really follow up on the story because there's just a lot that's going on with Jada, and like, there's just so much hate that comes with being attached to that entire saga with Jada and Will Smith, because people don't really, if you have been living under the rock, you know that the internet, they're not too fond about Jada Pinkett Smith. Alopecia, I think they don't even look at what triggered Will Smith to slap him, because who was triggered because Chris Rock made a joke about Jada being bald, and that is because of the illness Jada has, which is alopecia. So it triggered him. He stood up, clapped. Chris Rock went back to the seat, and he was like, take my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Oh, English, guys. So he was saying that's Will Smith. He was saying that to Chris Rock, and that apparently it's not the first time that Chris Rock done it. And even after he knew Jada had alopecia, he still made those jokes and they felt that was a bit insensitive, And for me, I was like, well, these guys are not really friends. And Chris Rock also came out and told and was doing an entire thing around the slap, and he was making bank around that, So yeah, man, I hope they get over that. And speaking about these two, Jada and Will Smith, I don't know if you guys know, but over the weekend it was the Art Basel in Miami. There was an Art Basel in Miami. People like Kanye were there. Kanye and his wife. I'm like, let's talk about Kanye, guys. Let's speak about Kanye West. Her wife was wearing a see-through dress in that event, the Art Basel in Miami. He was wearing that see-through dress. And to speak on the dress, Kanye, there was an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians where Kanye was like, I'm not comfortable with you going out there and people making comments about your wife being half naked, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, well, Bianca is doing the same thing now. What's the difference between Bianca and what Kim was doing? Or was it because you had an insecurity or of Kim being the big artist and every rapper wanting to be with Kim? What was it? Because now Bianca is doing the same thing, but there's no shade, or like, because there's no cameras, I don't know. And he's like, I'm like, I don't know, but how did that happen? You know what I mean? So I was just surprised to see Gucci, she allowed Bianca to have a see-through dress with Effie within that event. And speaking on the Basel Awards, the reason I spoke about it is because of the Jada and Will Smith thingy. So Will Smith was also seen, spotted. He was spotted with a woman is like a Jada lookalike. She had a bald head as well, beautiful, in the Miami in the Miami, the Art Basel in Miami. So they also saw a woman who's similar to Jada. Jada features, and I'm like, at this point, are they broken up? Are they seeing other people? What's going on? What's going on? Because Will doesn't say a lot. Jada is not saying a lot, and he's making a lot of bank because his memo just came out. And I don't know if that stunt is to counter what Will released with. I don't know if the statement about the slap is to counter the pictures of Will being seen with the other woman who's a Jada lookalike, according to TMZ. I don't know if that's the case. Shout out to Usher, man. Shout out to Usher. I wanna shout out to Usher and shout out to Mary J. Blige, because Usher's residency as for Usher was, Usher is putting out the show. If you've been living under the rock, Usher's been killing it at these performances, and celebrities come through and he dances for them, and he does all these things. He tried that with Mary J. Blige, and Mary J. Blige was like, I'm with you, but no touching. Usher tried to touch her, and she was like, hey, Usher, relax, my brother, you don't need to touch. And I'm like, oh, that's so bold for her to say, no, you can do that, but don't touch me. He showed Uguti Mary J. Blige was a bit uncomfortable with Usher touching him, and Usher was just performing, and I was like, I'm so glad Uguti, there's someone who is, courageous enough to say, hey, my brother, maybe I'm in a relationship or I don't like being touched or whatever the reason, but Mary J. Blige had that in her to say, hey, I'm not fine with you touching me, Usher. So that is what was happening. And I think later on, we do have to touch on the Lil Dex situation. We have to talk about Michael B. Jordan crashing in the car in Kia in Hollywood. We'll talk about it. We are going to talk about Terrence Howard suing the agency that he's under. We're going to talk about Russell Simmons opening up about taking 9 lie detector tests about his case on sexual assault. We are going to talk about that when we come back on the second segment or second episode of the day. I'm your host, Lesego M, Pod, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. The book of the day is Mr. and Mrs. It's Mr. or Mrs. Just the right. It's Mr. or Mrs. Mr. What's the name of this book, Ganti? Why do we? It's because this is the name of the book. Why am I fumbling the name of this book? So the name of the book for the day is Because Mr. or Mrs. The right person doesn't exist by Oprah Winfrey. Because Mr. or Mrs. Mr. Right doesn't exist. Mr. or Mrs. Right doesn't exist is the name of the book. I don't know if I called it right. So Mr. or Mrs. Just write quickly. Mr. Right doesn't exist, guys. I don't know the name of the book, man. I'm so sorry for them, but I'm fumbling the name of the book, so apologies for that. On Amazon UK, the book is ranking 4.1 out of 5. On Amazon General, they didn't say which Amazon. So there's Amazon UK and Amazon J. So on Amazon J, it's 4.1 out of 5. Which the book was published on 2016, the 17th of May. I don't know, May of 2016. And I did forget again, guys. We are going to talk about Beyonce the Renaissance film when we come back on the second episode of the day. I'm your host, Lesego M, Pod, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Carol. Please do not forget to follow, like, and comment to get a notification for each and every time I drop a new episode. The song of the day is Freedom of Fame Reloaded by Black Les. Which he shares the same name as I, which is Lesego. So the song features Black Les, Pro Kid, and Reason, who later changed his name to Caesar Alkaline. The song is sitting at 235,117 on Spotify. The song was released 2018. It's 5 minutes 21 seconds long. I'm your host again with the most, Lesego M, Pod, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Let's meet later on in another episode of Backroom Convos. Cheers.